Hello everyone, and welcome to my universe. So let's see. Today I mostly, wanted to get this part done, and then if I'm, this isn't looking too bad, so if it doesn't take too long, I kind of want to get into the legs too. So, approaching the end of basic rendering. It took a while. There's a lot of stuff on this. And even then, I'm still considering redoing the frills here. I'm not sure if I like them. But, I'll handle the stuff I want to finish today first. Because I think how everything else will look will determine on whether or not this is fine. Like, it doesn't look awful, but I don't know. Anyway, first thing I wanted to do was, when I was looking at things, I kind of felt like this side of the skirt was a little bit too poofy. I'm gonna touch up the back part just a little bit, just to make sure that's not messing up my perception of it. Because that can happen sometimes. See a little bit kind of peeking out over here where it shouldn't, and I think this part should probably be a little bit higher. Then again, maybe not. That little bit peeking out over there was definitely wrong, though. So I'll flip that, but yeah. Yeah, this side, still, I don't know, it still feels a little bit wide. Or maybe I just have it angled slightly weird. There's something a little bit wrong, so I'm gonna go poke that real quick. What are you? Okay, yeah, we gotta grab you too. Hopefully I won't have to mess with it too much, so this way I don't have to do any frill re-rendering. That would be deeply unfortunate. But I'm pretty sure all I gotta do is just tuck it in just a touch and straighten it out just a touch. Let me make sure it's sitting under there just fine. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I like where it's connecting to there right now, so I'm just gonna tuck it in just a little bit more. There we go. It's a little poofy, but maybe not quite that poofy as it wraps around. This part that we see over here should be roughly equivalent to the first two here. So I just felt like it was a little bit sticking out, just a bit too much. But that seems better. Let me go touch up the back again. Just to double check things. Yeah, and that seems a little bit better. And then at some point, I might add, since I did decide to make this translucent, I might add a thing or two just to make the overlapping parts look a little bit more opaque. I don't feel like doing that right now, though. I don't really want to play with frills right now, so I'm gonna go work on the stuff up here. I'm gonna just get all that right, and oh man, my nose is already itchy. So, just watch my face spaz out for a second, it's fine. Just getting my nose so full of stardust, I don't know what to do with it all. Alright, but now I think it is time to get into that arm. Do I want to fully run to the arm before I fully run to the hand? Normally, I'd say yes, but I think the location of the hand is going to affect how I do the cuff there. So I might not, actually. Okay. Let's go work on the hand a little bit. Once again, I was kind of thinking about how I hold things. I think I have that largely captured in how the hand is drawn right now. The thumb still being a little bit weird aside. Yeah, because when I hold things like that, it's mostly held between my index finger and my thumb with a little bit on the middle, but the middle is bent a little bit. So I think that'll all be hidden back here, and then the other fingers kind of curl down, and you can see just a little piece of them there. So I think in order to fully understand the structure, I will have to hide the mask. Where did I put it? There it is. I was gonna say, I thought I moved it down here. But, yeah. I think this pretty clearly defines how I would do this kind of pose, so I think it's probably okay. Still looks a little strange, so I might do something with this pinky, maybe stick it out just a little further, just to make it clear that it is a finger. That might help. But for now, I think I just kinda want to start smoothing this out, because I do think it looks okay. Index finger long. I'm just looking at it relative to the thumb here. You know, I think I just gotta clean up the thumb a little bit. Where did I put it? There it is. Okay. I feel like I'm asking this more and more when it comes to my layers. I can never find them anymore. I'll just leave the middle finger hot pink. I mean, when I turn the mask back on, I don't even see it. So, I guess I see a little sliver of it right there. But that tells me I can mostly just leave it hot pink. My lovely placeholder color for as long as I want. And I don't have to totally perfect the colors until the mask is back on. And in fact, I will not be fully rendering this at all until the mask is back on. That sounds like an excellent way to make myself fixate on things that don't really matter. And I would prefer if I didn't do that. But that is definitely something I would do if I allowed myself to do that. So let's see. Why is it still white? I thought I picked a color. Anyway, the fleshy part of the thumb should be connecting with the palm, I think. Which does mean that I think this part is just ever so slightly too thick. And yeah, I do see the index finger kind of coming out the side when I do the pose. I worry that I'm drawing the hand backwards, but I think it's probably okay. You know, I should double check this. What hand is that? So, the thumb, when you have your hands splayed out like this, the thumb is on the inside. When you're looking at the back of your hand, it's going toward the center of your body. When you're looking at the palm, it goes away from your body. And that tends to be how I remember things. I just try to figure out which direction it's turning based on that. And so, when I turn my hand as such... Which hand is this? This is her right hand. So yes, this is the left. When I turn my hand, I think this is okay. The index finger's on the same side as the thumb, so that's fine. But let's see. Because I don't know, there's just something a little strange happening in here, and I'm just worried that I drew the hand backwards again. I do it probably in 2 out of 3 drawings, and I'm trying to stop that. Stop that before it becomes a problem. I'm pretty sure I probably checked it when I was doing the initial drawing, but I'm still not convinced. I'm not sure if I trust my past self here. So I'm just gonna check it over again. And let's see. We're looking at her. Yeah, I don't think you can bend your hand like that, can you? Well, shoot. Because I'm just thinking about how this would look. Because, like, if we were behind her... When I do this pose, my thumbs are pointed at me, basically. And that's why I drew it like this, because I was like, oh yeah, I see my thumb. But I'm realizing, yeah, the thumb is pointed toward me. And if it's pointing toward me, then that would mean that the hand is doing this. And, how to say? But the long and short is I'm pretty sure I'm drawing it backwards here. But, you have it like that, if this thumb should be pointing towards her, then, yeah. You have it like that. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm drawing it backwards. That's unfortunate, because it looks better with the thumb on top than it would with, all of her hand on top. So I might just draw it like this anyway. I just have to decide how I should fix it so it doesn't look quite so off. Because I don't want to do it in a way where where it would have to be like this, where you just don't see the mask because it's covered up by the hand. I don't really want to draw it like that. I want it to be more like this, where it's just kind of held in her thumb and we still see most of the mask. So I'm trying to think about how I turn the hand to accomplish that. Because I'm pretty sure right now it's backwards. Okay. I'm still gonna double check myself here, but... So we have the palm here. This is a palm right there. And the thumb is coming out on kind of the side. So if she were to open up her hand... I'll do it on this side. She opens up her hand, then... You know, like I was saying before, it'd be like this. Just, you know, more to the side. With the thumb pointing away from her. Actually, I think that's fine. Like, the dyslexia is strong, and that's why I have to check these things, because, man, sometimes I just want to put the thumb on the wrong side, and it's terrible for everyone. I have drawn so many things where I was drawing the hand backwards, and it took me, like, 3 hours to notice. And I'm just like, why can't I get this hand to look right? But the more I think about it, the more I think this is okay. So if I just fill in this whole bit here with shadow and pull out the thumb a bit more strongly, does it look okay? Or does something about it look weird? I think the fingers might be a bit long, but that's something else entirely. I'll go ahead and fix them just so that they stop bothering me. And that would also make the thumb a little bit long. Alright, so we're starting things off strong with, can Planckera figure out if she's drawing a hand backwards or not? Oh, man. The weaknesses of the dyslexia. Gets me every time. Am I drawing the hand backwards, or is this fine? Because, yeah, this is palm. But I swear, it's like when I do the pose and I try to make it so my thumb is pointing away from me like this, it feels kind of unnatural in my wrist. Because I do think that it is indeed pointing away from her. With the palm facing... I'm trying to picture in my head what it would look like if she held her hands up to her face. Like, this one is fine. I'm pretty confident about this guy. So she held her hand up to her face. Yeah, this one would have the thumb pointing this way. And if she held this hand up to her face, this one I think would also have the thumb pointing this way, which is a problem. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm drawing it backwards. Oh, man. And that's probably why it looks really weird right now. Airplane noises. I think I can fix it by turning the thumb the other direction. I'll have to move the fingers around too. But I think I can do it without killing too much if I just move the thumb to the other direction, and then I can still keep the reason that I kind of wanted to pose like this in the first place. But I do have to, unfortunately, you know, I'm gonna move the thumb to a new layer just so I don't completely destroy what I've drawn already. Okay. And then if we take this guy, I'm gonna try to salvage as much of this as I can. We turn it around. And then I put the thumb back in place here. And I'll see if this looks better. Maybe I should have duplicated the original before I did all this. That does feel a little more natural, but it also feels significantly less sassy, and I'm not sure if I can tolerate that. It's a start, though. So... Let's try to get the energy of the pose back. I think if I tilt her hand back just a little, we'll get it back with the hand no longer backwards. Let's see, I think I have it a little long. I mean, it's going to be a little small if I do it like that, but I can fix that. I like to try to get things proportionate to themselves before I start making it proportionate to everything else. I just think it's a little bit easier. So I try to get the size of the fingers right relative to the hand, and the hand relative to the arm, and various things like that, before I go and finally compare it to the head. And I compare everything to the head. The head is the arbiter of truth, and that's why I don't mind rendering it early. Okay, but aside from the thumb looking weird, that I think does look a lot better. And... okay, I'm gonna kill the transparency mask on this for a second while I put it into place. I don't know, do I want to do it a bit more like that then? You know, there's a choice to be had here. So I'm gonna think about it, as I always do. I just kind of wanted this floofy bit on the side that her thumb is not. Let's see. I don't know if I like that. And I do want her index finger to be pinching it, so yeah, I don't think I can flip that. I actually don't mind this black covering part of the windows. I think having this kind of contrast next to her head might look nice. And then I can use this little horn bit on the edge of the mask to kind of point toward her face. It'll be like an arrow. And I think that'll actually work. If I did it like this, though, I would have to move the mask back to the top because it needs to be on top of the... what's it called? The cape here. It can't be underneath her shoulder. But I think something like this will actually be pretty okay. And then if I put the transparency mask back in, you know, the mask on the mask, and carve out where the thumb is roughly. Is that nicely in her hand? I'd say so. Yeah, and I think it's fine. This isn't completely parallel to the picture frame. The edge of the canvas. It's also not completely parallel to anything else around here. I still think it has some decent energy. I think I can give it something a little bit better, though. So I'm gonna kill the mask on the mask. And I am going to take... where's the suit layer? You know, once I find it, it'll happen someday. There it is. And I think I'm gonna extend her arm out just a little bit. You know, I'm glad that I did all this now. That I insisted on getting the hand right before I did anything else. Because, man, wouldn't it have sucked if I had to redo everything because I realized really late that I just drew the hand backwards again. Dang it. So I gotta adjust the pose in order to have the hand go in the right direction. I hate everything. It's okay. Although I'm looking at it again and I'm questioning if I have the hand drawn right again, so... maybe I don't want to be doing this much work until I'm a little more confident. Maybe I should just look up a reference. I don't know, this does feel a little bit more natural, but you know what's... No. I don't trust myself. I'm gonna look up a reference. I gotta. Otherwise I'm gonna have a bad time, I think. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Why am I getting stock images of people pretending to hold stuff instead of people actually holding stuff? Rude. Okay, let's try something else. One hand. Okay. I am indeed correct. It's actually pretty hard to get it so that the thumb is facing you instead of, the other fingers. Or facing the viewer, I should say. But... the hand tilted that way. I don't know. Is it still... It's just really hard to move your hand in that direction. Oh, shoot. Did I not do that? Now the palm is away, facing away from her. And that sucks. I really wanted it to be the thumb facing the viewer holding it, but I'm not sure if I can do that. Okay, let's go back. How far back can I go? Oh, good. I can go all the way back to when I started separating out the thumb. Okay. So I got a little mystery to solve here because... yeah, no matter which way I turn it, I just don't think I can get the thumb facing the viewer like I want, and that's kind of unfortunate because it would mean that I would have to have it looking something like this. If we go back to the mask layer here. Oh, that is not the transparency mask. I'd have to have it so that it was more like this. And the mask was just behind all her fingers and stuff. And I guess it doesn't look awful or anything, but I really liked it with the mask covering most of it. I thought it looked really nice. And now... let's fix the thumb. Get rid of the thumb shape here and start putting in the finger shapes. I'll let this one stay hot pink. And this means that the pinky would actually be the frontmost finger. I will let it stay in shadow here. It doesn't make sense, but I find it convenient to draw. And then the hot pink one would be in the front here. This guy would be in front of the hot pink one. And that is more accurate to what I'm trying to draw, probably. I guess it looks fine. I'm still a little sad. Oh well. So I'm gonna draw like that. Nothing else to be done here, I don't think, so let's, I'm gonna start working out how the fingers are gonna go here. Because, yeah, no matter how hard I try, I cannot get a pose with the thumb facing the viewer. The thumb has to be pointing away, it just does. This was like, oh no, I drew the hand backwards. Time to draw it again, it's fine. I need to bring on the bright colors in order to break this down, I think. So we have kind of the top of the palm doing something like this. This index finger should be shorter, but otherwise it's fine. Boop. Okay. Gonna boop them all on down. This guy I think should also be a little bit shorter and probably tilted a little bit different. I was tilting the fingers to work with when they were going the other direction. So let's see, this should actually go up there. We got a plane change here. So we gotta send it back into perspective. Something like that. Then this is gonna be the pink going up into the pinky and rolling like that. So I'm trying to think about how to draw the fleshy part of the hand there. But let's just go ahead and get a pinky going. And this was originally the ring finger, but I have now decided it is now a pinky. So, there's gonna be some changes. And I think I'm just gonna have the pinky go out straight. And don't worry, I can totally see what I'm doing here. It makes sense in my head, don't worry about it. Someday you'll be able to see it too, I believe. So yeah, I'm just gonna send the pinky out straight. Like that. Yep, that looks pretty good. I just need to lessen the initial knuckle curve over here in order to make it look right. I think it's also a little bit long, so I'm going to send it back. And I'm totally not concerned with destroying the rest of the hand right now. I always find that getting the side facing directly to the viewer makes drawing the rest of it way easier. So that I actually think I said this last time too when I started drawing the hand, that I like to start with the pinky and the index finger. And I always like to start with the side that is facing the viewer. And then I get the furthest side, which will be the index finger in this case. And let's see, with it facing this way, I think that we actually see a little bit less of over here, or rather we see less of the side here and more of the palm. So I'm going to just shift all of this over. Yeah, like that. And then I can just fill the rest in. And I do think that looks a little bit better. I'll draw in where I think the thumb will go roughly, but we're not really going to see it. It's going to do something like this. But yeah, I mean, this already feels 100 times more natural, and I have the thumb drawn really weird. Just, it's not facing the right direction. But that's fine. Like I said, it's going to be covered. So, whatever just helps me understand where it is fine. And it's probably going to be mangled to hell and back. So, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, trying to get some fleshy parts in there. I think that all of this should be a little bit lower. Okay, and now I can try to shape the pinky again. Is it long? Feels a little long. This is what I said. Thumb. Probably gonna be mangled to hell and back. But I just wanted to know roughly where it was on the hand. Roughly. I think it even might be a little bit too high. So I'm gonna move its mangled self down a little bit. And now I have kind of a thumb-ish shape right there. Probably a little longer. There we go. Okay. Something like that. It's gonna be covered up by the mask. No real need to worry about it. But the pinky, on the other hand, I think is worth getting right, because it will help me figure out what to do with literally every other finger. So no matter what I have to destroy in order to make that happen, it is worth it. I've always considered my process of drawing just about anything to be more akin to sculpting than drawing. So this is just kind of how I see things, just a collection of light and shapes. And then I can just pull it out however I want it, and eventually it'll become the correct shape. So that's generally my goal with things, and I think that this is starting to become the right kind of shapes. I want it to be just a little bit thicker, I think. A little bit straighter up top. So I think something like that should work. And the rest of the fingers have been utterly destroyed, so I'm just going to erase them for now. I think the index finger still looks pretty okay. At most, it's just a little bit long in the top. I'm just going to slide it down just a little. Okay. Right now, I'm trying to get the finger lengths correct relative to each other. I tend to, as always, just reference my own hand, and I look at the various finger segments. So for me, the pinky is one whole joint shorter than my ring finger. So I tend to use those kinds of proportions, and it's a little bit different for every hand, but nobody's really looking at hand proportions like that closely, so not like that. So I think it's fine to just use my own hand. And this one I want to be bent. So it's going to do something like that and probably disappear behind pinky here. Does it come out the other end? I think that's a bit too long. So I think it disappears back there. I don't like the angle that I have. I might draw this on a new layer because I'm scared. Yeah, that's fine. We can draw it on top. And I'll just go back and forth between the two until I'm satisfied. And eventually, you know, I'll just sculpt a hand out of this and it'll be fantastic. But yeah, that seems okay. I'll just go ahead and merge it, and then I can lighten up the parts that need it. And let's see, when you have your finger bent like that, which joint is going to be on top? I'm kind of making it look like the finger is pointed away from us, but I think it's actually pointed towards us. So it's like this. Okay. So that's probably going to need some tweaking, but that's fine. I can tweak it. I'll keep drawing this one in hot pink. So the middle and index finger are mostly straight. They're mostly going straight up. But this one is bent just slightly over here. And once again, I think that this should be pointed a little bit more toward the viewer. That doesn't really affect the shape that much, but it does make the part over here a little bit flatter and up here a little bit shorter. Okay, and now I can start getting correct colors in there. So kind of like this. This finger is on top, so I'm gonna do a little bit more there. I was kind of hoping to... Yeah, that's right. I have those kind of mid shadow colors that I can be using for the parts that just kind of go back. So this part of the finger is kind of pointed towards us. I believe that this part of the finger should be going a little further back. And now I can put the deep shadows into the points where they overlap a little. Where should they be overlapping exactly? A little bit lower down. I don't have that drawn correctly. They should all be overlapping down here. There we go, that's better. I do think that this finger is a bit long, so I'm gonna let this middle finger overlap the index finger a little bit more. We're just gonna slide this on down. And kind of the same with the ring finger here, which does mean I'm gonna mangle the pinky a little bit. Unfortunate, but okay. And then if I can, I'm gonna try to salvage some of the pinky. Just not move it. Okay, and then I just have to let the pinky stick out again. Okay, so something like that. And I think that's looking alright. It's a start. Right now, I think that relative to the palm, the fingers are way too small. So I'll lessen the size of the palm here. Just kind of send it on up. And adjust accordingly. Don't mind that it is no longer connected to her arm. It doesn't need to be. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. It'll connect someday. Someday they will rediscover each other, and it'll be wonderful. It goes down into a wrist. See, I told you they'd rediscover each other someday. It actually didn't take as long as I expected. Okay, I think I overdid it a little bit though, so let's make the hand just a little bit longer here. Okay. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. Definitely small, but you know, like I said, I always like to get everything relative to themselves first. Let's go give a little bit of attention to the mask. Actually, it's totally pointless to do this, isn't it? But, no, I just want to check the pose. I just want to check the pose real quick and make sure that I have it drawn right. So we will move all these fingers on top. I don't remember where I drew the pinky, so it's fine. Yes, is she holding it? I'd say so. Wonderful. So that means I can probably get in and start, how to say, really checking the proportions and stuff. Oh, I need to stretch. Oh, hands are stressful. Okay. See, this is why I wanted to start it with the hand, because I knew that if I wasn't ready to render it immediately, that I'd have to look somewhere else for a while before I could really trust what I drew. So, I'm gonna zoom in, and we are ignoring everything else right now. All that matters is whether the fingers look like they are proportionate to the palm, and that the palm has roughly the right shape. So that's all I'm doing right now. One step at a time. I think that the thumb should actually be going up a little bit higher. So I think we're gonna get a shape more like this. And I want to go back to gradually pulling the side of the hand out here, so... Okay, let's go back to my reference. What is the hand doing? Fortunately, my reference is actually pretty far off from what I'm trying to draw. Alright, let's see what these empty, disembodied hands try pretending like they're holding something have for me. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh man, but this one has the thumb in front. Wait, could I have drawn it with the thumb in front all this time? No, it would have looked weird. This looks way better. Okay. I can't trust this reference. It's pointing the wrong way. I'm getting, like, all these pictures with the... Like they took it themselves. So, you know, the camera is between them and their outstretched hand. So... Oh, pain. Oh well. Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, I kinda have the right idea. I don't know, there was just something over here that feels really fat. Maybe that's the issue? Is it just fat? A little bit. Okay. So if I were to take my friend the liquefy tool and just... Actually, I don't even think I need to use liquefy. I think I could just shove this entire thing over a little bit. Will you feel better? Maybe a little? How does it connect into the wrist again? So we get like a big fleshy spot on the pinky. So it'll go out over here. God, I wish I didn't have to be clicking back and forth here. Should I just save it? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I'll just save it. I like how they're just like, oh, hey, and you could download this if you buy our thing. Here, have a free trial. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna right-click and save your preview. It's fine. That is sufficient for me. Who needs to spend money on things? Alright, where is my reference folder? And people... It's funny, 90% of the things in my specific parts reference folder is hands or feet. I don't think it's a coincidence. Okay, let's get that in here. Gotta find it again. Where are you? Here we are, people. Okay. There it is. Okay, so this was the hand I was looking at for the curious. And it's not exactly one-to-one, but that's fine. I don't think it has to be. In fact, 90% of the references I use are not one-to-one. They just kind of give me the gist of what I'm having trouble with. And the part that I was looking at is, okay, so we see the hand here. And the way it connects back into the wrist. So there's going to... Mine is going the other way. So the bump on the wrist is not going to be exactly the same. That really only happens when it's going forward like this one is. Mine is bending backward. So this part will be just a little bit different. But, you know, everything else is close enough. So let's get that going in there. I will lift it out of the suit just a little bit. I kind of want to show the pinch. So anytime you have something bent like this, there's going to be a side that's stretched and a side that's pinched. In the reference, you can see this side is pinched and this side is stretched. So you can see that there's like little bits of skin folds throughout here, and over here everything is a little bit smoother and a little bit more stretched. The easiest way to start seeing this kind of full compression versus stretching is in spine movement. So if you lean forward, your tummy gets compressed and your back gets stretched. And if you lean backward, you know, really stretch your back, then, you know, the opposite happens. Your back gets compressed and your stomach gets stretched. And emphasizing that can do a lot to make it easier to understand the kind of movement you got. So let's get that in there. So the wrist should be going this way a little. And I am not going to fully render this. I absolutely 100% need to look away before I fully finish this. Let's see, fleshy part of the pinky. And it kind of starts melding together into the fleshy part of the hand back here. So I want to make sure that the pinky is fairly straight. This person bent theirs, but I just want to keep mine pretty straight. Maybe it'd be a little more natural if I bent it just a little. I don't know, there is something that I was just feeling a little bit off here. And as usual for my personal taste, I'm using my 2 jointed fingers. Hello there, Protox. Welcome back. I'm just using my 2 jointed fingers. Oh yeah, right now we're drawing hands. That does look a little more natural. I'll roll with it. I think I've mostly got him. Just kinda... I want this one to be bent a little more strongly, I think. Just kinda... making sure that I understand the shapes of all the various things that I'm trying to put down here. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so... pinky there, the side of your hand has a fleshy spot. I kind of want to emphasize that just a little bit more. And then I need to think about where the sides and various things of the hand are here. So they are kind of pointed towards us, so I do think that this part will be coming down. And of course, this plane is definitely more pointed toward the light, so if anything, I could probably put this entire side into the light here. This finger's pretty straight, so I don't think I can put the entire side in there. Okay, and then of course this ring finger is in front of the middle finger is in front of the index finger. But they should be joining a little bit further down. Which tells me I have the pinky pointed a slightly the wrong direction. There we go, that's a little better. How are the sizes feeling relative to each other? I think this one needs to be a little thicker. I think the pinky is okay. We'll need to have a shadow between the ring and the pinky. I want the pinky to look fancy, so it needs to be sticking out a little. Everybody knows that sticking out your pinky makes you fancy, so I will do that. Okay, and then we got the part going down there, and I think that looks fine. I'll let the ring finger overlap the middle finger just a little bit. I think that will actually look pretty good. And they'll all just kind of meet down here. Okay. So that seems alright. It does. And let's see, how do I want the rest of this to be shadowed? Like the side of the hand here. The light on this one is shining very differently than how mine is, so I will have to imagine it. My light is coming from back here, which tells me maybe I should reverse how I currently have the light and shadow. I'll try that and see what happens. I guess it's fine. And I'll put this entire finger in the light. This upper segment should all be lit, I think. And you know what? I think I'd actually rather use my kind of mid-tone shadow instead of the really hefty shadow. And I can add just a touch of the rim light there. This part could all be pretty well lit. Does it feel like it's connecting all into the wrist okay now? I think so. So, the wrist still feels a little bit skinny and weird shaped. So I'm gonna try to fix that now. I'm not quite sure how to fix it though. Okay, I guess that's fine. And now let's get it sized a little bit more like the head and the other hand. I'll compare it to both of those. The back here still feels a little bit mutant, but most of that's going to be covered up by the mask. So I'll worry about that a little bit later. Let's see, it's a little bit big. And I think the main reason it looks a little bit mutant is just because I have the thumb and the palm in there the same color with no differentiation in value. So, of course it's gonna look a little weird. It's fine. Okay, that should be good. Okay, and let's put the mask back on. And now I can actually get the fingers overlapping it properly. It is no longer little experiments, it is now how it should actually be looking. So we'll get something like that, and it now looks like she is holding the mask, I think. And then we see the little bit of the thumb on the other side, and all is well. And her hand is no longer backwards. Hooray for me. But yeah, that seems okay. I'll leave the mask blue for now. I'm definitely gonna have to pull a few shenanigans to make that look good, since when I bring it back, it's like, they're the same color. I planned the color of it relative to the gloves on the other hand, which are black. So, you know, a little unfortunate, but I think this color scheme is what I have to go with. Anyway, I'm leaving it blue for now. I don't need the hand reference anymore. I think it looks fine. We'll render it out later. Let's go. And do the dress. Oh, last time I did frills. And then today I realized I wanted to make the parts where they're overlapping a bit look a little bit more opaque. So we're gonna be revisiting the frills. Where the hell did I put them? It's a good question. There they are. Okay. So all I'm gonna do, I think, is duplicate this layer. But I'm making the entire group like that. Okay. No, but doing it the entire group is correct. So we're gonna make a copy of the layer. I'm going to call this overlapping frills. We're gonna bob it down to 85 like the other one. And then I'm just going to erase on the areas that I don't think have a bunch of overlap. So that'll be most of through here, but there is going to be a little bit through there. I will be careful. I'm not going to touch that part just yet until I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. So we see that you got some of the frills overlapping here. This will make it all look a little bit nicer, a little bit more convincing. Definitely some overlap there. Probably not here though. A little bit over there. Little bit right here, but that will be taken care of by the back. Definitely some there. Then we got a little bit of overlap over there. And the idea is just to erase on the areas that don't need to be just a little bit more opaque. Which is most of it, to be fair. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So, let's think about where these frills are going to be overlapping. Based on the size of the ones that are similar here, they'll probably go to about up here, I'd say. So I can freely erase everywhere else, and then I just need to make a basic a frill shape right through here. And it'll give it a little bit more of not exactly a realistic feeling, but a feeling that they are truly see-through. So on these guys, probably right about up to here. I had it about right. So there we go. It'll give things a little bit more of a presence through there. They only overlap, like, right through there. But there's also those guys. Okay, so these guys will overlap here, but not through here. Not on the gold part, basically. They do not overlap on the gold part. I think this part continues a little bit more like this. Okay, and then this guy is going to be going up this way. So no overlap right through here. Oh, no. It reaches the edge, right? Yeah, it does. Okay. So no, this seems fine. Then we got a little bit of overlap just on top of this frill here. Not a whole lot, but a little. Enough to be noticed. I think there's actually a little bit more overlap than that. This one is shaped like that. Okay. And then nothing through here until we get back over here. This one is overlapping there. This one does not overlap at all. So I can erase it all. And then we get another little bit of overlap over here. And through here. But none through there. So is that... Yeah, that's all of those. So now I can get these ones. None through here. But a little bit through here. And a little bit over here. There we go. And I don't think any of these ones overlap. Well, I guess there's a little bit right there. But I think that's already covered. Okay, and then once again, we got the overlap down there. This one, yeah, I think it's shaped kind of like that. Then none of these overlap. None of these overlap. This one doesn't over here, but it does over here. Okay, and that should be it. So, yeah, it's a small thing, but if you look at the difference, it's just, you see some spots are just a little bit more opaque, and it corresponds to where they are overlapping, and I think it makes enough of a difference. So there we go, and now, skirt time. The red part. Fortunately, I think it already mostly looks pretty good. I didn't get all the shadows from the frills and stuff yet. So that's going to be most of the work here. Just making all that look nice. And then, of course, there's going to be a little bit of cast shadow from the hair. Strictly speaking, right, with this kind of lighting, I'm not actually sure if it needs it 100%, but I'm going to give it to it anyway because it makes me happy. So, that's what matters. The lighting I do at this stage is not always 100% accurate. I try to be a little bit more accurate with my lighting when I do kind of the final shadows. The ones I do at the very end. The frills here are supposed to be quite close, so I am making the shadow nice and small. And every frill will have a little bit of shadow associated with it from where it's kind of digging into the skirt here. And then it's just a matter of getting a nice shape. we go. Yeah. And then I just gotta smooth it out to my liking. And you know, this is another place where I say that my shadows are not always 100% accurate, because if it was, you wouldn't be getting cast shadows from both directions like this. But I kind of like having shadows like that. My shadows tend to kind of double as lines as well, since I don't do any kind of line art or anything. So I find that kind of pattern to be useful to what I like to do. And you know, we just go from there. I feel like I've already got most of the shaded, so I'm pleased. I think it's already mostly looking pretty good. This is like the final touches. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I feel like as long as you're not drawing like pure photorealism, you can basically do what you want and it'll be okay. So, just got a little tiny bit of shadows there. There are some things that are worth knowing. That'll help. But for the most part, legit, I think you can just kind of do what you want. Okay, I need to get this pretty straight through here because it looks like I changed it just a little. There we go. So this is where it all kind of sticks in to the frills. And then I just want to make the shadows around the frills a little bit looser. Or tighter. Yes, saying the exact opposite of what I mean. It happens a lot. But yes. Hello there, chromatic mushroom. Right now, you know, just doing some simple things. Finishing up something that I actually had already looking pretty okay, just because it was necessary. Thanks. I try. I like thinking about a lot of the little things. There we go, around here. Still keeping the shadows pretty close because these guys are pretty close to the dress itself. And yeah, it looks like I still have some parts on the golden part that I still need to render out well. Oh no, this part I actually did kind of want to keep like that. This part should go a little higher though. There we go. So a little bit of cast shadow from the dress itself here. And you know what? This part that I just did over here, I think I would actually like that in kind of my just a slightly darker shadow here. I get the feeling on the actual... Well, is that dark enough? I don't think so. I need something a little bit lighter than that. Do I have that? I know I have something a little bit darker. Maybe I should use that. But basically, I think these are blending in a little bit too much. This works for me, though. It does. And then for some of the cast shadows between the pleats, I can just use this darker one. And I think that will work well. Wasn't quite satisfied with the contrast between each little bit of the skirt here. There we go. That's much deeper. And now you can kind of differentiate between them a little bit more easily, I think. Okay, and now I can just go back to the normal shadows for these guys. So I drew all the frills. And now I have to pay attention to the cash shadows from all the frills. The suffering never ends. Frill hell will continue to haunt you forever if you decide you want frills on your clothes. Which, if you're anything like me, is often. It's okay to make great things. A little bit of pain is necessary. And these ones I'm letting be a little bit further apart. These ones I picture being like directly on top of the dress, whereas these ones are, you know, kind of following around the edge here, where it's a little poofier, a little bit, I don't know, fluffier, where you have the bits of the dress overlapping. So I'm making them a little bit farther away and a little bit, not following the exact shape of the frill quite as hard. I don't want to do the same down there, so there we go. And let's see, we still got this guy here, which is going to be another one that's a little further away. And this guy here is going to be a little bit further away. I want to fix that. Okay, now from the hair. Actually, I want to use this one for the hair. No, I changed my mind. I liked it better before. Okay. Okay, and some of this has to go onto the frills themselves. So, let's see. Just making sure that it follows the right shape there. Just everywhere through here. Making them far away because I picture this hair being decently far away. And now I can put it back. And that was it. Fortunately, not that much hair there. And now I can just do the same to the other side. But yeah, I think this side is looking pretty good. The light is kind of coming from behind her, but I think that the cape is going to be blocking all the major sources of light on this side. So I think this is all fine. Just whether or not I want the... You know what? I actually want to try this. If I should have these inside parts be the really dark color. Yes, I totally should. That looks great. Okay. Alright, well, let's do this side now. This side is going to be much more well lit. I was largely ignoring that when I was drawing it initially, just so that I could actually get things done. I like to kind of do one thing at a time. But now I can actually start lighting up the edges here. And it'll look really nice. And let's see, now that I think about it, I want a little fold just kind of coming through here. And I think I want this on a few of them. A little bit more waviness to it. I don't think I need it down here, though. That one I think is just fine. But these ones are being pulled a little bit just by virtue of being a little bit shorter. I don't like it on this one. Okay. I like it here, though. It was just occurring to me because I was like, huh, you know what? A little fold, like, going right here, I think would actually look pretty good. And I am correct, I think. So I will bring all that out too. Just work on getting the shapes exactly to my liking. I think that this side actually needs a little bit more of the light here. And gradually, I'll just pull all of these shapes out of here. And I think it'll look pretty nice. Just one little pleat at a time. And then I, of course, still want a few of the little shadows from the frills there. This one's not going to get shaded. That one I think looks better just in the light. So I'm going to leave it like that. And these guys... no, I prefer the mid here because this side is more pointing toward the window. But I do think that the light will probably die off somewhat as we get further down. So the back side I'll probably still leave pretty dark. Just because if you look here, the window only goes to about her waist. So down here I don't think gets quite as much light, but I like the way the frills look like this, so I make an exception for them. And thus the rest of the dress kind of has to look like that too. But I think this makes sense. I think it is fine. Oh, I have the dark color. Okay. And then the rest is really just a matter of getting the rest of the dark colors for the frills. I think the light's looking pretty good. Right there's fine. We'll put a little bit of folding in there just to make it look like the frills are kind of sewing in there. And I think that does it. Keeping that side nice and simple. It's just very bright. Now then, let's get the gold parts. I have about half of the gold parts done. But they still need shadows from the frills and stuff. Oh, I do not have the layer locked, and that's a problem. So, I do like to make sure that the frills here have a presence. Make it clear that they are also casting shadows and stuff. But I can go through this pretty quickly and just kind of scribble, and it's fine. Mostly. Okay, and I am making sure that every part has a little bit of shadow around it. Just because, again, I want to make it look like they're really digging in there. And I just don't think that happens if you don't put a little bit of shadow around them. That side is fine. Let me angle this a little bit better. Okay. Let's see, do I have a nice bright one I can use? I don't want to use the one I use for the metal, and I think every other gold part is metal. Do I have any highlights over here yet? No, just shadows. Okay. What about for you? Oh, I didn't do one for the belt. I should. Okay, I'll do that too. But first, I need to pick a nice light color. That's a pretty good one. This will let those bright parts kind of continue on. There we go. All nice and good. I gotta say, I'm still not really a fan of drawing frills, but man, do they look nice. I do like them. And I guess I don't hate drawing them. I don't hate it, but I wouldn't say I like it either. But man, a result is worth it every time. Every time. Okay, there we go. So now that should be all of that, and I think that is it for the skirt until it is time for science. Oh, yeah. Man, that's gonna be fun to deal with when, and I mean this unironically, not in the sarcastic way, but it's gonna be fun to figure out how to make this a little bit smoother, you know, a little bit more like how I have the hair and face. I just wanted to do all the clothes at once. Anyway, I need to revisit that belt. Where did I put it? There it is. And put a little bit of light out here. Just a little. Let's see. Yeah, I probably do want that color, and I will continue the little seam line that we got going all the way around here. I think that should still exist. There we go. Okay. That should still exist. But there we go. That looks a little bit nicer, I think. Just a little bit brighter on the edge there. And with that, I think I want to take care of the legs before I go up and do that hand. The me of right now, do I think it looks okay? I'm not quite sure about the palm still. Okay, I think I know what the issue is, though. It's okay. If I see a potential problem, I should go and fix it before moving on to something else. Just so that when I come back and look at it again, after not looking at it for a little while, I'll have a clearer view of what is actually wrong. And that should help a bit there. The thumb will be coming out from over here, so let's draw that a little bit more meatily. Thumb just has that big old muscle on it. Very, very useful muscle for doing anything that you need a thumb for. Okay. Just kind of looking at the muscles in my hand again as I do that. I'm gonna drop a little bit of light into the knuckle areas. I do think that the index finger should basically be entirely in light. But otherwise, that seems okay. I think it's fine. I'm gonna look away from it for a little while again, and I'm gonna go handle the legs. I don't think that there's much going on there, so about the only complaint I have is that they seem a little bit big. Got some chunky legs, and I do like the people in my drawings to be strong. But, I don't know. I think it's a little bit big on the backside here. You want them to be strong, but you don't want them to be just, chunky. They must look nice. And this being, suit pants, they should be pretty straight, so I don't have to worry about, like, the shape of the calf or anything. This is not going to be the kind that hugs leg curves very strongly. I do think such suits exist out there, but not quite what I'm going for here. I can see where they'd be appealing. Legs are nice. And then I have this kind of half dark color there, and I do think that looks a little bit better. And the back leg, I'm mostly just keeping straight. It's not going to have nearly as much of a bend. I think it already has too much of one. I do think that when you have a casual stance like this, that you do want to keep one of the legs pretty straight. That's going to be the one that's carrying their weight. Makes it look a little bit more casual in the long run. I'm just kind of feeling out where I think it should go. Like I said earlier in the stream, my method is a little bit closer to sculpting. So I just kind of feel it out. I think that looks alright. Yeah, that should be alright. Okay, and now to figure out the folds on the pants. The thigh might still be a little bit thick, but I have references, so I would like see if I can find a nice shot of what the folds in a suit look like on the lower body here. I could actually potentially make them tighter around the thighs if I wanted to. Do I want to? I don't know, let's see what it looks like. I am on the wrong layer. Yeah, I see at least in a lot of women's suits, and this isn't supposed to be a gender swap, it's just the same character in a suit, as opposed to a dress. So I think it makes sense for it to follow the trends of women's suits, and I think people will appreciate being able to see the thighs a little bit more clearly. So, you know what? Let's see if I can make that look nice. I'm still not really gonna worry about the calves. Okay, I'm gonna hide the skirt bit for a little while. Just, get an idea of what her legs look like while they're attached to her. And I'm hopeful that'll give me a better idea of how I should be structuring certain things. And it certainly is. Her legs are so long. I think I have them proportionate to her actual design, though, because, man, her legs are super long in her model, too. But I'm just looking at this and I'm just like, man, you don't even see the feet and her legs are this long. But I think it's correct. I don't want her hip to be sticking out a little bit more, too. Just again, I fear the chonkiness occasionally. Don't want it to be like that one meme of a very fat cat where it just says, "Oh Lord, he coming." Okay, there we go. I think that's okay, and then what are the pants gonna be doing here? We're gonna have, like... Yeah, the cloth around here is just gonna be tensing through here. And let's see, does this have, like, the same quality as suit sleeves, where it has very long folds going down? It's a little hard to tell on this one. Let me see what we got here. Just looking at references again. It's very useful when I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. I don't think you truly know what something looks like until you try to draw it. I say such things often, but oh man, I really mean it. Because, I don't know, you just have to see so much more if you actually want to be able to draw something accurately. Which way is the knee bending here? I think the knee is actually facing upward. So I think I need to have it shaded like this. Okay, yeah, I kind of like the slight flare at the bottom. That's common. And then after that, we'd get some folds around the knee. That's where I see a lot of them. You don't see them quite the same as you do in the sleeves, but you do see a lot of bunching around the knee. And that's kind of what I'm getting from all this. Lots and lots of bunches around the knee. And it leads to some folds kind of like this, too. Just kind of on the top there. I do enjoy shading clothes, personally. I think it's a good time. And I think that's probably about right. I don't like that one. I like this one being a little bit stronger this way. I don't know, how do I feel about it now? No. I don't want to break up that shape that hard. I think this one's okay, though. A little shorter. Okay, yeah, that all seems fine. I think the length and the width are looking pretty good. So let's see, how do I want to handle this back leg? What do I want to do with the back leg? The hip is mostly going out this way, so I think that this is fine. And just besides that... What is that from? I don't like that bit of residue. It's driving me crazy. Is it from this? It is. Perfect. Now it is gone. It's amazing. How much easier it can be to see when the random bits of residue are no longer there. Fantastic. Okay, and then from here... Okay, that's probably fine. And this is gonna look a little strange, but I think it'll look good by the end, where we would get a little bit of light just through here, following the folds. But the rest is still quite dark. Because it's, I want it to look like it's going back. It's behind her. But I think that having the light there will still look pretty good in the long run. Okay. So now if I put the skirt back on, some of this is going to get covered, so I'm going to have to reshade that, but I think that looks pretty good. You know, keeping it nice and simple. We don't need to be doing a lot down there. But yeah, I think that looks good. I think I still want to look away from it for a little while. So I'm not going to go back to fully rendering that. Am I ready to do the hand? Do I trust myself? I think I do, but I need to change the angle on the mask a little. Once I find the layers again. There it is. Okay. So all I'm gonna do to change the angle on it is I am going to squish it. I'm gonna squish it downward, and then I'm gonna put it back up in her hand. Now it looks a little small. I think I overdid it. Maybe I should try a perspective warp instead. I did lock my mask layer, or the mask on the mask, the transparency mask, so that this way I could freely adjust this and make it look a little more in her hand here, and like she's kind of tilting it a little. And like she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And then, like, she's kind of tilting it a little. And But yeah, I think that looks pretty okay. Yeah, let me see before and after. I think it's a little better. It's just a small thing, but I just felt like it was a little bit too head on there, so I wanted to make it look like it was being tilted. Let's see, I have some good colors for this. Where we see the top. Some of the mask got moved over there, but that's fine. And then the bulk of it here, and we just kind of see the top. And then a bit of this side over here. I wanted it at this angle. And I think that looks a little bit more like it's at that angle now. The trim is totally wrong, so I'm just gonna hide it. But once I fix up the shadows on that, that should look pretty good. And I mean, the colors are inverted right now, so everything looks wrong. That's okay. We will fix it later. But, you know what? Yeah, I think this hand looks fine, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and render it. I think I have looked away long enough, just getting the rest of the skirt and the legs done here. So yeah, let's just go do it. I am gonna hide the mask to do this. Please do not mind the amorphous blobness of it all. I think it looks okay. I believe in what I just drew. So, alright. First things first, I always like to just kind of get the outside. And I decided that the index finger should be a little bit more behind everything at this angle. So I just kind of shaved that down. But yeah, I'm just focusing on getting the outside shape looking good, so that this way I can lock the layer and never have to worry about coloring outside the lines again. It's very convenient. I like it a lot. And my nose is just so itchy today. I wish I knew what mummy I offended to get such an insidious curse. Because, oh my god, my model spazzes out every time. But... you know, I guess as mummy's curses go, having an itchy nose while streaming isn't so bad. I wonder if there's like a documented phenomenon of that, of something of resonance and vibration while you talk into a microphone. I don't feel like looking that up when I'm trying to draw a hand, but I might at some point. And now I'm just curious. Now, I don't know, is this just me? Or is this something that other people deal with too? Am I alone in dealing with the weird, oddly itchy noses while I'm trying to stream and draw? Let's see, I wanna shave off the top here and make it a little more parallel with the bottom. This is where I have to perfect all the shapes, so if anything feels a little bit off, I want to go in and fix it. Even if it means kind of breaking some stuff for a little bit. It's okay, I can fix that too. And I appear to have changed the angle of the finger again, so I'm going to embrace the change. Okay, that looks fine. Okay. And I think that's about it for the outside, except for this blob that I'm not going to worry about. I'm just going to pretend this part doesn't exist. It's okay. And yeah, let's go ahead and really bring out each finger. I guess I can lock the layer now like I was talking about. And just focus on getting all these shapes just right. Who do you think would win? Those are big numbers. Oh, hello there. Hello there, Ping My C2. Welcome. Fortunately, I'm just drawing. I'm not really in the mood to discuss power levels. But I do like drawing things. And I'm doing hands right now. Oh, I don't doubt that it's a very real question. It had a question mark in everything. That's how you know it's real. Okay, is this pinky kind of thick? I don't think so, actually. Let's see, I think it should not go quite that far to the end, though. Or does it? You know what, it actually does. Okay. Okay, and I do think that these dark spots should go almost to the end. I do think that that is right. And then, of course, the fingers will appear to get thinner as they go back. Because there's... like, the pinky is covering part of the ring finger is covering part of the middle finger, etc., etc. The index finger, I think, should still just stay totally in light, though. Okay. There does need to be a little bit of shadow here to separate these two fingers, but I kind of want it to drop off pretty quickly. There we go. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then I just kind of have to more thoroughly define where they bend. But after that, I think that'll be covering most of it. And then I might add in some folds, since this is a glove. Since this is a glove, I do want to put in some folds there. I do think that that'll make things look a little bit nicer. And I think that this is all looking pretty nice overall so far. I just noticed that there was a little bit rough, so I'm just kind of smoothing it out a bit. Although now I think it might be... I think it might be a little bit too smooth at the moment. Let me see. Let me see. Ooh, I actually kind of like that. Let's do it on all of them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. And I'll lock the layer. Make sure that I get all of the fingers here in light, and then I can also just get the little bit of rim light going around here. And finish up those shapes there, and then I can think about folds. So how do I think the folds are going to be handled here? So this is where that stuff about compression and stretching is going to be useful here, because I know that I have a compression point right over here in the wrist here. So I can make folds kind of originate from that. Give me just a moment here. Let's see. Sorry about this. Give me just a moment. Then I'll get back to finishing up the hand here. Okay. There we go. Now we can get back to figuring out folds here. So, yeah, we have the compression point in the wrist back here. So I'll just add, let some folds kind of come out from there, and I think that'll look pretty good. And I do think I need a little bit of light on this side too, but I won't let the fold be quite as strong through here. So I'll keep that fairly simple, and I don't want to add too many folds, because I remember trying on the last hand, and I didn't think it looked very good, so I'll keep them pretty simple. As you can see, I'm mostly doing it with light here, as opposed to shadows. But I will put in some shadow spots up here, and then another thing I like to do is I just add a few ridges, kind of like this, little bumps. And I think that often makes for very nice little implied folds too. So I'll do a little bit over there as well. But I'll keep them pretty small. Just little small bits. There we go. Oh, thank you. I don't really want the, I don't want the hands to call too much attention to themselves, so I'm keeping it simple. But I do like keeping things... I think it looks good. And yeah, I think it's fun too. I think that's why my process is like 90% shading. I start right from the beginning. I don't sketch in a traditional way. He was spamming the chat with random stuff, and I was sick of it. That's fine. Frankly, it's because before today, I didn't actually know how. Actually, I still don't. How do you delete messages? I can do so. Let me see. How to delete messages. I explained my reasons. I do not wish to talk about it further. But sure, you can click the icon. I did not see a trash icon. Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Don't worry, I am also talking about the bot here. Okay, there we go. There we go. It's like we get bots going here periodically. They typically don't come back, so most of the time I just can't be bothered. I'm very lazy. Okay. Yeah, I think that is all well and good, so I think I'll just go ahead and... Actually, you know, before I do anything, I should perfect that mask. The transparency mask, that is. So, I don't want it to be covering any of the fingers. And here, looks like I'll have to do a little bit more work to get it to follow everything fine. So I'll want it to follow the shadows there, because those are the cast shadows from the pinky, so they're not actually part of the pinky itself. And there we go. I think that looks pretty okay. That I don't like anymore, so I'm gonna go ahead and adjust that. And then from there, let's see. Ooh, I didn't get that quite as well as I needed to. So let's get that all the way up to the edge. Make sure it follows the shape of the finger nicely. This is where masks are nice. Because, you know, if I ever change my mind on anything, I can always just go back over it and, you know, or bring things back as much as I want. So, very, very, very nice. Very convenient. I've already done so several times. And it's been nice because it means I don't actually have to erase anything and I can just keep going from here. But yeah, I can see several things have changed about it. I'll have to redo all the glitter and stuff too. A lot of this is still pretty messy, but you know, that's exactly what I'm here to fix right now. So let's get into it. I think I like the layering I have here, where I have the opaque frill here and then the translucent frill behind it. I don't quite like the ratio of it yet, but I like the idea, so I'll be keeping that, just making it look better. But first, the red part. I think I have everything in pretty good spots. Okay. So I am gonna have to figure out how I want this to be lit exactly. I need to decide on all the planes, because this entire thing is facing away from the light source at this point. But I don't think I want it all to just be one solid shadow color. I think that'd be pretty boring. So I will have to figure that out. But first, let's go ahead and smooth out the edges so that this way I can experiment to my heart's content without any worry at all. Okay, I'm gonna hide the mask and the hand for a second while I kind of figure this out, because I want to make sure that I get the eyes looking pretty good. I do want to make sure that they're looking nice. And while I do want the edges to be pretty sharp, that is important, I don't want them to be quite this sharp. I don't think it'll look good once I smooth everything out a little bit more. So I will pay close attention to that. And then from here, you know, once again, not overly concerning myself with the colors here. I'm just kind of focused on the edges. And once I have the edges looking nice, then I can worry about the things like the little bits here that with any luck will just make it look more three-dimensional. That's what I'm trying to say. I want it to make it look a little more three-dimensional. But that will actually be on the top now. It's going to be a little bit different, because initially I was drawing it directly on her face, and it made sense for it to be angled like that. That's how I made it make sense there. But now I kind of picturing her tilted the other way, so this is actually going to be the side that we see an additional side on up here. We're not going to see any at the bottom. So that's a slight difference from how I had it initially drawn. Okay. I don't quite like how this interacts with the leaves in the background, but frankly, the leaves in the background are placeholder. Like right now, I feel like this is sharing an edge with this leaf here, and that's bothering me. But since the leaves in the background are placeholder, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just make sure I draw the leaves better. And considering I'm just using Krita's leaf brush as a placeholder in the background for now, it won't be too hard to draw them better. I think Krita's leaf brush is okay. But I don't think I'll be using it at all for the final version. I can't actually think of very many situations where you generally want to have, like, super detailed leaves like this for most things that you'd want leaves for. So I haven't used it that much. Occasionally I'll use it just to give me some random shapes I can trace over. But I don't think I have ever actually kept the pattern that the brush gives me. I've always changed it up considerably. I kind of feel that way about most of Krita's stamp brushes, actually. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. I think that they really are just there to help get you started. So that this way you can paint your own stuff on top of it. So I think they're working as intended. Okay, I need to hide the background for a second because the side of the window is making it hard for me to see where the eye hole in the mask is. So let's turn off the background for just a second. Have our lovely little wood color back there, and then I can perfect everything through here. Okay. And now I want to make sure that the perspective on the eye holes are looking okay. I like kind of what I got going around the nose here. I think that this one might still be a little bit... some of the spikes at the bottom might still be a little bit askew. But overall, I think the nose bit is looking pretty good. I say as I adjust it, but I do. I think it looks pretty okay. And I think the top is good. Yep, I think we're good there. I just saw a few areas that had some blurry bits. But I don't feel like the eyes are lining up properly. You can kind of see that we'll have this kind of shape for the nose going around. But the corners of the eyes aren't really meeting up properly. So I do need to adjust that. And I think I like the way they look on this side a little bit better. So I will adjust this side to kind of match up there. So I'm just going to use a good old liquify tool for that. Keep things simple. I do like my friend the liquify. Makes it very easy for me to just sculpt and carve things out as they should be. So I'll just pat around with that for a little bit. This side should be a little bit higher. They are going down this way. So I'm gonna kind of line things up a bit. And now I'm getting to the point where I like this side better, so I'm adjusting this side a little bit more to let them match together. Okay. The rest, I think I just have to draw. And I'm just paying close attention to how things look on the other side. and I'll go from there. Round things out just a little bit more over here. I kept things very angular at the start. I still think they're pretty angular. But I want them to be just a little bit rounder. Just a little bit. Just so it doesn't... Like, there are some times where I like my edges to be sharp enough that they look like they could stab me, but not quite what I want here. Everything is just going to be a little bit softer. And so I think that this is a pretty good outline of the whole thing. Maybe except right here. That's still a little bit blurry. But otherwise, I think I'm pretty happy. And then I can go back in and start to figure out how this thing should be lit. So, I was mentioning that since that this entire thing is like the backside, it should probably, technically speaking, all be like this. But I think that's really boring, and I don't quite want to do it like that, so I'm going to really try to bring out where I think a bunch of the curves are. And in my head, I think it is kind of curving like this. We get a little bit of that there, we get a little bit of that here. This is all going toward the background. So I'm gonna let this side have a little bit more light on it. We get something like this, and then I'll put this side mostly dark. And then, of course, as I was mentioning before, I do think that we see the top side of this, and since it is facing away from the light, I'll make it dark. Okay, and then over here, kind of the same thing as let's see, how do I picture the shape like this? I think it's gonna like curve around the edge here. That's why I have this light here, because I think it's starting to face toward the light over there. Okay. Kind of want the shape of the forehead. The way that I picture it sticking on her forehead there. And I'm not going to shade it fully until I turn the hand back on, but I just wanted to get a good idea of the shapes that I'm going for, and I see that I missed a spot on the edge at the bottom here. So let's smooth that out a little bit. I think it looks kind of blurry and bad. There we go. Okay, and the last thing that I need to check is just where do we see the eye sockets here, and should they be light? I think they should. So we're gonna see a little bit of this part here, and I think a little bit of this part up here on this side. Okay, and I think that's about what I want for that, so that looks good. Oops, accidentally hit C instead of X, happens all the time. They are right next to each other. And there we go. So, that should cover all the major planes and stuff, so now I can put the hand back, and I can start thinking about, you know, shadows from the hand and whatnot. Okay. So the hand is going to be touching it very directly. So I'll keep the shadows very, very small. Because they are, like, right next to each other. making that one a little bit bigger because otherwise it would leave an awkward triangle and I didn't like that. So, just something slightly different there. Okay, and now I can pay attention to the kind of shapes that I'm planning on for this. And make sure that I bring them out properly. Because now that the hand is done, I know roughly where I wanted some ridges to be going. And you know what? That one doesn't look good, so we're going to ignore it. And I think that'll do it. So there we go. They blend together a little bit more than I would like, so I'll probably add some more effects on it to separate them a little bit at some point, but I think that'll be a job for science. So that'll come with all the experimentation at the end. Let's do some frills, because you know, you just never have enough frills. Gotta hide the glitter. Okay, and I'm not gonna worry about the super transparent part yet. I still really don't like the shape of that. So I'm just gonna have to redraw a bunch of it, and it's fine. Yeah, I'm on the right layer now. Okay. So we're revisiting Frill Hell, but you know what? It's okay. There aren't very many here, so it should be fine. And I see that I didn't go all the way to the edge of the finger again. So I'm just kind of fixing that up. And we can get right back to it. So frills are one that I kinda do the inside and the outside at the same time. When, you know, like I was saying when I did the hand, that normally I just handle the outside. I tend to do the outside first and then worry about the inside, but with frills I actually find that to be a little bit challenging. I think that they work a little bit better when I do both the inside and the outside together. Kinda helps me bring out the shades properly. The downside is that I do kind of have to be going back and forth between locking and unlocking the layer, which is annoying and inconvenient, but let's see. No, we're kind of seeing from this direction. So yeah, we see this one, but not so much this part. So I'll be making the shadow on this side a little bit thicker, where I feel like we probably see a little bit more of the frill, and this side a little bit thinner. Makes it look a little bit more three-dimensional. I think I actually have it backwards here, so let me make this part just a little bit thinner here. Get it all looking nice. Okay. And then I'll just gradually make my way around. And hopefully by the end we'll have some nice looking frills. Let's see. I think that right here needs to come out a little bit more so that I can show a little bit more of the frill here. Then we'll get a shape like that. I'm gonna go ahead and put in the kind of tension points here. There we go, and then I think here should be... No, no, no. I think this is okay. As long as I make it look a little bit more like the part of this frill right here and not this one. Otherwise, I think it'd be too thick. So let me see if I can get that looking a little bit more accurate here. Okay. Yeah, I think that should be good. So I'll just keep going around. Let's see, how do I want to do this one? Because this one is like changing directions, so it's a little bit different than some of the other ones. I want this one to connect in there a little bit better. And right now I actually do feel like these are a little bit too square, so let me round them out just a little. Those ones were good, but these couple were a little bit too square. And I think this one is not quite square enough, so I kind of need to rein him in just a little. With that, it should look a little bit more structural. And we'll just kind of alternate the direction there, and that should make it all look pretty good. And then I can lock the layer for a little bit. Okay. And on this one, I do think we see a little bit of the side here. So I will make sure to make that one a little thicker. The frills here are a bit weird because they're going around in a circle. So I think they're a bit different from the ones that were on the dress. And that is throwing me off just a little bit here, but I think I got him. I think I got him looking pretty nice. So I just gotta touch up the last few little things here. And then I can put some light on them, and that should make them look really cool. Light really does make everything better. So we'll be able to just kind of figure out how I want these to be. I'll put things in a little bit roughly at first. Make sure that I kind of have that I'm picturing everything right in my head here. But I do feel like that when you add the highlights, everything just gets like 10 times better. The highlights are where a lot of the special stuff is. Okay, and then as we get over here, they're less just completely surrounded in all the light. So I'll put in just a little bit less. And then we'll get something like this. And it also occurs to me that I did not put a little bit of shadow around the mask itself. So I'm going to do that now. There we go. Let me just round out some of these areas here, and I think that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and just finish up these lightest points. Get all the little highlights working good. I guess I decided to start in the middle. I don't know. I wasn't really thinking about it, and my brain decided it wanted to start here. I guess it's fine. I can start there. I suppose I see no real reason to stop it. And from there, I can figure out the shape of the translucent ones that I currently have hidden. I think those ones will make it look really, really interesting when it's all done. I think that they will add just some very nice things to the final bit. I do enjoy translucent cloth. I don't draw it very often, but I do like it. I like it a lot. And I don't know, just every time I draw it, I generally have a good time. It does make things way more complicated because you have to worry about where the translucent parts overlap and various things like that. But I don't know, there's just something about transparent cloth that just looks really nice. I really do think it just looks really, really nice. So I'm glad I'm getting to draw a lot of it here. Okay, and then I just need to clean up the areas by some of the darker shadows here. And that should do it. Okay. Let's make this just a little thicker right there. And it occurs to me that this part did not get smoothed. But there we go. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe I made them just a little bit too thick. Did I? No, I kind of like it like that. I think it'll look good once I have a bunch of the other stuff going. So I think I'm just gonna go do the translucent bits of cloth now, and oh man, are they a mess. Ooh, I'm actually gonna have to think about how they should look. I know what I was going for, but I dislike it enough that I think I'm actually just gonna start over and go from there. So what I wanted is I wanted just small little bits of this kind of shape. So I'll just gently kind of brush them in. But this is the shape on her flower, the shape that I used for the petals of that. And I wanted them to kind of mirror each other. I also used that shape for this part of the mask. That's what that was kind of inspired from. Pretty much the entire outfit is supposed to be based on the flower. So I'm using this shape just repeatedly. I think it is a very interesting characteristic of the flower. I really like the shape. So I'm gonna use it a lot. Use it as a kind of unifying shape for the whole thing. And I think that this is already looking better. The background is kind of throwing me off again though, so I'm gonna hide it. And I will definitely have to clean up some of these edges in order to make them sufficiently pointy. The petals are pretty pointy. So I want this to be pointy too. Yeah, and I think this is already looking much nicer, looking a little bit more like delicate flower petals to go around the edge here. And that was a little bit more of what I was going for, rather than the little bit of scribbling that I had before. Let me go ahead and bring up the opacity here just to make sure I don't have any holes and that the shapes are the way that I want them to be. And kind of clean it up. And then bring down the opacity again for shading. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'll bring it back down to 60% opacity. And I think, unlike the rest of this, I think I can actually get away with leaving most of it the very bright color. Huh, do I not have you filled in? Or are you just some residue from the above layer? It is indeed just some residue, and though I also did miss a spot. I guess they weren't mutually exclusive. I guess it could have been both. Yeah, and I see a little bit on the edge here that I need to kind of fill in. Just a few little mistakes here and there. Alright. So with that, I think I'll just add the shadow shapes with the more neutral color here, because I think that makes sense for where it is in the drawing. It's like right next to the window. Okay. I actually don't quite like how dark that is in some places. But, let's just keep going, and then I can figure that out. Because I might just need a slightly brighter color here. Let me see what this looks like with the background back on. Wrong one. There we go. Actually, that's okay. Alright. This is why I wanted to check. I do think it is okay. Yeah, I think that actually looks alright. So, now I can turn the glitter back on. And I think I'm gonna leave the trim for when I handle the trim on the rest of the outfit. So, I do believe that is everything for the mask and the hand for now, at least until I finish the arm here. And then I do the cast shadow onto the hand. So there we go. That's pretty nice. You know, with as much time as I have left here, I think there's probably enough time to do both the legs and the arm here, so that's exciting. I might actually make my goal for once. And then next time we can do the rest of the cape, the back part of the cape, the back part of the skirt, and hopefully all the trim. Oh man. And then decide if I want to change those frills, because I don't think I like them. But anyway, let's go ahead and do that arm. So now that I got a hand in there, I know what it should look like. Once again, I think that a lot of this is going to be very much in the light here. I kept this part dark, but I think I'm actually going to end up making it a little bit lighter. So first, let's get the shape of the sleeve looking good. I'm going to go compare it to the other one. I think right now I have it a little bit too large. So let's go ahead and kind of define where I think it should stop here. Just something like this. Okay, I'm just gonna cut into the arm until I kind of figure out how big I want this to be. I think it'll be hard to preserve the shape of the arm while I'm trying to decide on the size here. I think this is fanning out just a little bit too hard. I'm gonna kind of design all that relative to the hand. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. Which tells me that this part of the arm should actually probably be a little further this way. Which might be why I was having a little bit of trouble with certain parts earlier. Not earlier today, but earlier in the process. Arms are kind of my art nemesis. They are the parts that I find the hardest to draw. So, a lot of the time it'll take me a couple of tries in order to get it all right. Okay. Yeah, now I think we're getting somewhere. I think that looks a little bit better. Is that, like, comparable to what I have over there? I think so. I do worry about that wrist being a little bit skinny. It does look kind of thin, doesn't it? I guess it should, because the wrist does look a little bit skinnier when you're having your hand sideways. Yeah, now I'm nervous. I'm gonna go work on the legs. I'm a little bit more confident about the way the legs look. I'm gonna look away for a little bit and make sure that I still like the wrist before I render everything again. Okay. So, once again, just gonna do the outside for now. I'll worry about the inside after. This isn't one area where I feel the need to do both at once, so it's nice just to be able to focus on one or the other. All right. There's gonna be a lot of straight lines here. To an extent, I probably should actually be careful about that, since I'm letting this follow the shape of the thigh a little more closely. So yeah, let's curve it a little bit, actually. I changed my mind. Give it just a slight little curve. Initially, I kind of wanted it to be pretty straight, because, I thought it would make sense, you know, how you tend to very thoroughly press suit pants. It makes them a little bit stiffer looking, and it does make them look pretty nice. But that's why I was thinking about using straighter lines for the legs than I was several other places. Just to give the impression of a very well cared for suit. But if I'm making it a little bit tighter than I was initially planning, then it doesn't make sense to keep the lines quite so straight. Down here, though, down here, I'll keep them pretty straight. Because even in the fairly tight women's suits that I saw references of, they kept the lower legs much, much straighter. They didn't hug the calves quite as strongly. I saw a couple that did that, but I didn't think they looked as good. So, while it's something I could have done, I don't quite like the style quite as much. So, got a little bit of personal taste going into this too. My own general fashion sense. Just treating it very carefully. And I think before I do the back leg, I'm just going to go ahead and finish off the front leg. So let's get the shadows from underneath all the frills here. I can keep them pretty big because they're pretty far away. At least in my head. And then I'll carve the folds out of here. I actually think the folds here are pretty important, so I'm going to be a little bit particular about them. A little bit more than usual. And I'll go from there. It'll be great. I really like drawing clothes. They're fun to draw. Pretty much any bit of it. I mean, I complain about drawing frills, but I can't say I hate it. I'll still complain, though, because it is pretty tedious. Okay. So let's see, from here, I think I can just follow what I drew, because I liked what I drew before. I'll keep this highlight going down roughly the middle. I was mentioning how you kind of press suit pants, and this is the impression that I want to give from having this big highlight here. I want to make it look like there is a plane going down the middle, and that this side is facing this way. So, don't mind me cutting into the shadow there. I'll put it back once I am more confident in how this highlight is going. But yeah, that's the basic idea for this highlight. I really want to give that impression of very meticulously cared for clothes. Katya strikes me as the type that would take very good care of her suits. And would probably shoot someone if they mistreated her suits. So... So I want to make sure that what I draw kind of reflects that. Okay. So now I can kind of start bringing out the knee. I'll put a little... few more folds kind of molding around it. Based on where I put those... I don't know, I guess you can still call them folds on the edge. Just let everything kind of match up. And I'll start letting this color kind of bleed into over there. I think it'll look nice like that. And a little bit of half and half right there. And then just a little going under there. Yeah, kind of like this. I think that'll look good once I kind of smooth it all out. And then when I looked at references, I did pretty frequently see just a little bit of a fold underneath the knee that didn't really attach to a lot of things. So I'll go ahead and preserve kind of that thing that I saw. I'm not quite sure what causes it, but, you know, if I saw it very consistently across many different suits, then I'll go ahead and keep it. Might as well. And I actually think that these ones are looking pretty okay, so I'll just smooth them out a little bit. Okay. And now I can go back to finishing off the highlight here. You can see I cut into the fold again, but it's fine. I will fix it up. I just kind of have to get all the stuff around here before I can feel comfortable doing that, so I'm going to. It'll be for the best. And I'll let this highlight kind of come up into here too. And see, I kind of tend to draw them a little bit bigger than I think they should be, so this way I can sculpt them back. I think it helps. There. That good? I think that's good. So now let's hit the back leg, and actually I don't think I have quite enough time to get into the arm, which is a little bit sad, but I should be able to finish off the legs. I don't think I want to try to rush the arm, because I do find arms pretty difficult, and I can already tell there's a bunch of things I have to fix in the folds, so I think I'll save that for next time. Maybe I'll dick around to the cape a little bit, or the back of the skirt. Get that done instead. I probably got enough time to do that, actually. Back of the cape and the back of the skirt are both fairly straightforward. It's just arms are complicated, and I think they're hard. I think they're really hard. Fortunately, all I really have to do here is just straighten out a few areas. And everything else should just kind of work out. What was I doing over here again? I haven't the foggiest, so I'm just gonna make it all dark. I probably had some nice fold ideas for that are not coming to be because there's a skirt in the way. These things do happen, and actually I kind of want a little shadow area from the skirt too. Just like right there. Okay. You know what? I don't actually think I want those highlights there like I was initially expecting, because I forgot that it was going to be surrounded by the skirt. The skirt was hidden at the time. So I think this is actually better. I will keep just a little hint of folds, though. Just a hint, it's not going to be very specific. Because as things get dark, you can't make details out very well, because, I mean, when it comes down to it, the way our eyes work is that we see light reflecting off of things. Our eyes pick up light. So when things are dark and in shadow, you don't see them very well, because there's not much light to see. Alright. Yeah, you know what? I feel like doing the bottom of the skirt. What are you? Are you a whole... No, you're something. What the heck are you from? Are you from the suit? No. Yes. Okay, found it. Now I can get rid of them. Heck yeah. I like it when I can get rid of little things that have been bothering me. I told myself I wasn't going to get rid of that until I did the back of the skirt. It encouraged me to do a little bit more today, so it did its job. The refusal to let myself fix things until it is time. Oh yeah, let me see. There was something that was bothering me about the skirt. I think this pleat is long. So let's see what I'm gonna do to try to fix that. Yeah, I do think that this would probably come together under the legs here. So I think I'm gonna extend this part a little bit. I'm gonna have to change these completely, so I'm just gonna delete them for now. I'm gonna extend this part a little bit so that I can shorten this part a little bit. and do something like this. I think that will make their structure a little bit more clear. Should make them look a little bit better. And then I just need to make things a little bit more curved. Right now they're very, very straight. But I'll worry about the frills after I have these gold parts looking nice. So let's just get a few little curves in there. That should make a world of difference. Don't mind that I am overwriting some of the lighter spots I put in there. I'll put them back when the time is right. Okay. And let's see, this part is going to be like behind here, so I can add something a little bit like this. You know, much like I was saying before, since as things get darker, you don't see as many details, this is actually sufficient for what I need for this part. So I don't mind that these two pleats kind of bleed together a little bit. Okay. And I do think that this part is a little bit thick, so I'll just tone it back a little. Now I can focus on getting the right thickness for all of this. And yeah, I think that fixing up the skirt here is going to be the last thing I do for today. But yeah, pretty good progress. I was able to get the hand down a little bit faster than I thought, so I am pleased. And I wouldn't be surprised if soon it was finally time for science. I am so looking forward to that. I just can't stop thinking about it and all the things I want to try. So, science is just what I call doing lots and lots of experiments to try to figure out certain things stylistically. And for here, I'm trying to make the shading a little bit softer. So you can see I'm still just doing a kind of a hard cel-shaded style right now. Except for in the face, where I did my science already. And I'll be doing that on the clothes. I just wanted to do all the clothes all at once. So that this way I would know what it actually all looks like together. As opposed to just kinda doing it piece by piece and guessing. I thought that was important here. I think these might still be a little bit thick. Let me see. Oh no. This is good. Okay. I'll just put those little lights that I had in before back in. I think I still want them. Just gonna be tiny little guys. But I do think that they add something. So I'll go ahead and keep them. Oh man, I am just so looking forward to finally being able to put all the softer shading on this. I have stuff that I've been wanting to try for so long. And I think in probably the next 2 weeks will be when I finally get to do that. That's gonna be great. So excited. There we go. Oh yeah, and the frills. The frills can all just stay dark. So I don't really have to do much very special with them. Just make sure that I make some long, some short. It'll make them look frilly. And otherwise just kind of try to keep things smooth. I think I can just draw it all in one go, so it'll be fine. This time I'll just make sure that they look nice. We won't do any scribbling. Just plop them on down. Finish it up. I'll even add the glitter because glitter makes everything better. So I would just feel bad leaving it without its glitter. Okay, and then we'll have a little bit going back here. And I think all those are fine. A little bit going back there. And a little bit going back here. Gotta make sure I get all of those too. Don't want any of my little frills to feel left out. That would be unfortunate. But I think that's it. Some of these are looking a little blobby, so I'm gonna go back over them one more time. Okay. And I think that should be good, so we'll add a little bit of glitter. And let's see, where's my dark? My dark color for white. I do want the glitter to be white. So this is one. I think it probably qualifies as a stamp in Krita's library that I really enjoy. Just a Starfield. I like to use it for a lot of my glitter and stuff. Oh, and I realized I missed a spot. Okay. Back here. Back here needs some going back. Oh, not in the glitter brush, though. Normal brush. Needs a little bit going back. And I'll put a little bit of glitter on him. It'd be too unfortunate to skip the glitter. Oh, that's a little bit too much glitter. Okay. And there we go. So there is the entire skirt and her legs done, so all we've got left is the arm, and then I have some trim and some patterns that I want to put on this. I might redo the frills on the neck thing. But yeah, trim, patterns, arm, and then I think we're good. And it'll be time for science. We'll see how much of that I can get through next week. I'm kind of slow at drawing, and I do fear for patterning. But I think I should be able to finish most of it, if not all of it, and then we can... Oh man, I am just so looking forward to making her clothes look as soft as her face and her hair. Like, I really do like her hair a lot. It just looks so nice, and there's another thing that I've been wanting to kind of experiment with there, and whether or not I want it to look a little more transparent. So, you know, I might put like a copy of her eyes above the hair layer and reduce the opacity, so it looks like the hair's going through it a little bit and that kind of thing. Common in anime styles, but I don't normally do it, but I think it might look nice here. I made an exception on my VTuber model as well, where you can see my eyebrows, even though my hair is in the way. So, I might make an exception for this too. I think it might look pretty nice. But I think this is where I will stop for today. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all next week. So Thursday's gonna be more phylactery, and I'll probably have a saving and a saving feature, and then maybe more work on getting the never-ending nightmare that is recursive pipes done. I'm still really hoping to do that. I think I have a good thought on how to get it done. So we'll see if I end up having that done before next Thursday. Or if I decide to gorilla stream it, who knows? But regardless, I hope to see you there, and truly, I do hope you're able to make something wonderful today. Bye-bye.